What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Surprise Jab Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Ruger, spicing new topics every single week and jabbing you with your daily dose of UFC. And if my tone does sound a bit more dim than usual, it's because I've been battling a sickness. I felt it coming on yesterday, Tuesday the 9th, and I kind of tried to sleep it off. I woke up, was not going to make it to work. It's a bad cold. I've been resting all day, so definitely recording this probably isn't the best for my voice, but with my job I do on a regular day-to-day, I talk on the phones all day, so if I'm being serious, then it shouldn't be affecting me too much recording this podcast. But anyways, big episode. Very big episode today, guys. We have the final event of the ESPN era for the foreseeable future. We're going to Paramount for UFC, and UFC Vegas 112 is currently going to be the final ESPN event of the year, and it's also going to be the final UFC just event in general for 2025. So going out with a not too bad of an Apex card. We've gotten a lot of bad Apex cards this year, but to be fair, the ones in November were kind of decent. In fact, as the year's gone on, the Apex events have gotten better. And with this one, I think we're all going to be in for a surprise with how well everything goes. As well, going to be talking about NFL Week 15 as the playoff picture race comes to a boiling point. We are in the final stages. Some would say the end game. And we're also going to be discussing what I'm actually kicking this episode off with, and that is the John Cena Retirement Tour finale. That is right, the final match of John Cena's professional career. And I know a lot of wrestlers hear this like, oh, he's saying he's going to retire, but he's not actually going to. But I think we can all agree this truly feels like the last time John Cena will ever wrestle again. And he's going out this Saturday, December the 13th at the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. Now, I have no idea why it's going to be in Washington, D.C. I don't know if we're going to have Donald Trump there. I don't know if we're going to have some politicians be there. Very odd choice to have it be in Washington, D.C. I don't know if there's maybe some conspiracy, sinister reason for that. All I know is that John Cena will be having the final match in his 26-year wrestling career, and it will be against Gunther. That is right. Gunther won a tournament to face John Cena. He knocked off Bronson. Who did he knock off in the first round? I think it was Javon Evans, Carmelo Hayes, Solo Sikoa, and then L.A. Knight. Personally, I think we can all agree we were hoping it wouldn't be Gunther, but nonetheless, it is going to be Gunther, which it is what it is. That's all I got to say there. Also on the event, it's also in John Cena's mind, he wanted to have it be that NXT talent. We're facing mainly WWE talent. I mean, okay, that's cool. We're going to get some good matches, but let's be real. All we care about is the John Cena match. And to make matters even more weird, I'm hearing rumors that John Cena and Gunther will open the card. That doesn't really make any sense whatsoever. I mean, I just feel like the Triple H and WWE are sabotaging this WWE or the John Cena Retirement Tour, which we're all aware of, but as of right now, we have 4 matches. I'm going to go in under the impression that John Cena versus Gunther will main event because it should, but something tells me it's not, which is just going to be kind of weird because it's going to be like the whole reason anyone's showing up is to watch the John Cena Retirement Tour and then our final match of his career, and then no one else is going to care about anything that goes down. So, first starters, you have Bayley versus Sol Ruca. Going to be a fun matchup, I'm sure. Bayley has been going through this weird phase with this character turn of hers, and I don't really know for a fact if she's even going to win this or not, but Sol Ruca has been on absolute fire. She has been red hot in NXT, and I definitely think that she should win this matchup. Hands down, you should give her the victory here, but as for what's going to go down otherwise, I don't know. You also have AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, your current men's WWE Tag Team Champions, defending their belts against Javon Evans and Leon Slater. And funny enough, Leon Slater is actually a TNA Impact, another wrestling promotion champion. But he's teaming up with Javon Evans, who's been killing it in NXT, and I'm going to be very curious to see how that matchup goes down. Should be exciting. Should be very exciting. I'm probably going to go with Javon Evans and Leon Slater. I think it would be best for business, but something tells me they're not having AJ Styles and Dragon Lee lose here. So I'm going to go with Dragon Lee and AJ Styles to win that matchup. And then what would be the main event if John Cena and Gunther isn't, which honestly, the more I think about it, the more it does kind of make sense that this is the main event, if that is the case. But Cody Rhodes and Obafemi, literally your undisputed WWE champion and your NXT champion. So it does make sense that would be the main event. And I can't believe we're getting this match now. Like, that's actually insane. That means the stock in Obafemi, like the what they see in this guy, I'm so glad it's aligning with what the fans like me see in him, because I want to see Obafemi main event WrestleManias. Like, I love Obafemi. And him main eventing against Cody Rhodes would be incredible for him. Now, will he beat Cody Rhodes? Probably not. Probably not. The only way he beats Cody Rhodes is if someone like Randy Orton gets involved, messes it up for him. In fact, Cody Rhodes really hasn't even had a feud going on right now. I mean, to be honest, I don't know what's going on, but there's no way they have Obafemi beat Cody Rhodes clean right now. Though there is also like a possibility like Ricky Sainz gets involved and he loses by DQ. So that is a match I am absolutely pumped to see. Of all the matches on this card, I mean, I'm honestly probably more hyped for Cody Rhodes and Obafemi than I am for the John Cena-Gunther match, and that's just because if it is the main event, I want it to deliver on a grandiose scale. So John Cena and Gunther might not be main eventing, but if it is Cody Rhodes Obafemi, I do think they're going to close out the show with a bang. Which, might I say, the show is a Saturday night's main event, and I just want to say, like, Saturday night's main events are awful. like there's just this recurring theme of them there's no reason we should have brought this back, so no idea why this is why we have to have John Cena retire. But nonetheless, John Cena will be ending his career facing Gunther, and why? To be honest, I have no idea. None of the fans wanted it. I get it makes sense that Gunther would win a tournament if put in it. He also retired Goldberg earlier this year. He's an absolute killer. He's been screwed relentlessly. They just love to have Gunther be built up as this big bad, then he loses at SummerSlam. He loses at WrestleManias. It's kind of funny, but I honestly don't really care if John Cena wins or loses his final matchup, because I could see on the one side, we'll be happy if John Cena wins. On the other hand, it'll be similar to Brock Lesnar and Undertaker, where Brock Lesnar used the fact he beat Undertaker's streak for a while. And if Gunther can beat John Cena, he can use that for the rest of his career. I was the man who retired John Cena. So I can see both sides of things. Honestly, I just hope it's an entertaining match. I think that's what everyone fears, and that's the fact that, Gunther and John Cena wrestle certain styles. And what we know is Gunther's an amazing in-ring worker. He's phenomenal, but he's a wrestler more than he is an entertainer. There's professional wrestlers, there's professional entertainers in the business, and Gunther is a wrestler. And John Cena has always wrestled to his opponent's degree. So I'm just hoping that it's not a slow-paced matchup. I don't see that happening at all. John Cena's matchups have gotten better and better as his retirement tour has gone along. So I am just excited to watch him retain. But I'm obviously going to go with John Cena. My GOAT, my favorite wrestler of all time, and I'm hoping he can get it done. I really do. I don't know if they're going to add another matchup on SmackDown or something. Maybe we have, I don't even know, Ethan Page versus Ilya Dragunov, or I have no idea. To be honest, I don't know. It's just kind of weird, this final event. And, WWE's going through this weird, kind of phase right now, and I truly believe, they need to redeem themselves heading into 2026, because it's like every time they had a layup in 2025, they would miss. It was so easy to book the John Cena retirement tour. It's like, just have him just do the greatest hits. And then there was the awful match with Cody Rhodes, which, as we've come to learn more about, Travis Scott and The Rock are both to blame for that as much as Triple H is. I think a lot of people really need to put more blame on Triple H. And the funniest thing is, Triple H has been like this for a while. Triple H has never liked to do things how the fans want. The only special case, there have only been two real special cases. One was Daniel Bryan, where Daniel Bryan was so undeniable. It got to a point where it's like, you have to push him. And then, of course, with Cody Rhodes not main eventing WrestleMania 40. Now, I do hate to say it, is that I kind of do wish we got The Rock versus Roman Reigns at one point. But the entire WrestleMania 40 build is still one of the greatest experiences I've had in professional wrestling. It felt like an Endgame. It felt like Avengers Endgame, which I've never been able to say about a WWE event before. So that was super exciting. But in terms of how 2025 is when, John Cena losing at the Royal Rumble was just kind of a head scratcher. And then him winning the Chamber was awesome. Then him turning heel, which ended up just being used to make a viral moment, was terrible. The WrestleMania match was terrible. And then heel John Cena was fun, but the best version of John Cena was SummerSlam. And that's because that's a John Cena that's a good guy, but does what it takes to win. And that's the John Cena I think we should have had as a heel. It didn't make sense he was turning against the fans. It felt every week they were just kind of throwing their hands in the air. How should we book this? But thankfully, it's coming to an end. John Cena is the good guy. He won the Intercontinental Championship, won the WWE Championship, won a final elimination chamber, faced Randy Orton, faced CM Punk, had my probably match of the year against Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, had a match with AJ Styles. Like, there's so many positives to John Cena's retirement tour, and I know for a fact he's going to go out with a bang. So, John Cena, I bid you adieu. I absolutely love you so much. And I'll tell you what else I love. I love this season of the NFL when we get into this little playoff time. I mean, it's so fun. It's such a good time. And similar to the John Cena retirement tour, we're reaching a culmination. And with Week 15, there's a lot of playoff implications, and we're definitely going to be eliminating a lot of teams. Right now at the NFL playoff picture in the AFC, the Broncos are your number 1 team. Patriots are your number 2. Jaguars are your number 3. Steelers are your 4. Chargers are your 5. Bills are your 6. And the Texans recently snuck in as the 7. Teams on the bubble are the Colts, Ravens, Chiefs, Dolphins, and Bengals, with the Jets, Browns, Raiders, and Titans all officially eliminated. Bengals really don't have much of a shot with a 4-9 record, so I'm axing them. Dolphins, I just don't think can catch up to the Bills and the Patriots whatsoever, so I'm axing them. And I think, if anything, what you're going to see is a battle between the Ravens and the Steelers to win the AFC North, and a battle between the Chiefs, Colts, and Texans, with the Chiefs hoping to win out and hoping that the Texans and the Colts lose 2 of their last 4. But we'll be diving into all of that when we look at specific matchups for the AFC. In terms of the NFC, Rams are the 1, Packers are the 2 after their win over the Bears. Eagles are the 3, but are doing everything in their power to lose the division. Buccaneers are at the 4, Seahawks are at the 5, 49ers at the 6, Bears are at the 7, Lions, Panthers, Cowboys, and Vikings are all on the bubble, but I think we can all realize that the Vikings are, all but eliminated, and the officially eliminated teams are going to be the Falcons, Cardinals, Saints, Commanders, and Giants, all looking to just play spoiler as we head down this home run stretch. But in terms of specific matchups, massive one on Thursday Night Football. Falcons at the Buccaneers. And, Chris Godwin's back. He's been a great element. But one thing is, the rookie wide receivers have been struggling for the Buccaneers. I mean, Egbuka has just kind of fallen off since his red-hot start, which has been kind of unfortunate to see, if I'm being honest. I've also noticed that, the running back situation with Bucky Irving, Rashad White, Sean Tucker, whatever his name is, there hasn't been consistency, and the Buccaneers are just been, grinding out every single week and are almost at risk of not being able to make the playoffs. With the Panthers red hot on their tail, the Panthers are also 7-6, so they have a great divisional matchup as well. So if the Panthers and Buccaneers, it's really going to come down to the home run stretch for them, seeing who can get it done. And right now, Panthers are kind of, moving with momentum. Buccaneers are struggling. But for this matchup, I got to go with the Buccaneers. Falcons are just bad. They're such a bad team, and I think it comes down to the head coach. Forrest is just not it, and I got to go with the Bucs to get this one done. Getting into our Sunday football, Browns at the Bears, a critical win for the Bears here if they can get this done. They are going to need to do everything in their power to get an easy win over the Browns, because after this, it's Lions, 49ers, and Packers, which is just not ideal whatsoever. So I'm usually going with the Bears over the Browns. If anything, I'm just rooting for Quashad Junkins to have himself a good game. That's all I'm open for. But the Bears lost the close game to the Packers at the end of the day. It was a great game, finished out well. And the Browns just lost to the Titans, which should never happen if you're a franchise. So, going to be going with the Bears in this one. But, critical win for the Bears. They need this one. Next matchup at noon, Ravens at the Bengals. And Joe Shiesty is just trying to play spoiler. The Ravens, I really felt like the Ravens had the division on lock. And then seemingly out of nowhere, they just kept losing and losing and losing. And at this point, I don't know if they're even going to make the playoffs. They're 2 games behind the Steelers. They're 7-6. Ravens are 6-7. So I'll be interested to see what happens here. Honestly, I'm rooting for Joe Burrow to get this one done. And at home against the Ravens, he just lost a good game against Josh Allen. I think Joe Burrow is back for revenge. And, I don't trust this Ravens team. I don't at all. So I'm actually going to go with the Bengals in this contest. That's who I'm riding with. Next up, Cardinals visiting the Texans. Cardinals coming off a bye. Something about this matchup just kind of screams Cardinals are going to win. There's just something about it to me, and I don't know why. Texans are in the playoffs right now with an 8-5 record, but Colts are also 8-5. So you got to watch out for them. They recently beat the Chiefs, which was an excellent win, and they're running with some positive momentum. So definitely think the Cardinals can pull off the upset, but in my right mind, I don't know if I can pick a 3-10 team over an 8-5 team this late in the season. So Texans over Cardinals is my pick. Similar scenario in this next one, Jets visiting the Jaguars. I have always seen this Jets team as a team that can easily upset whoever they're playing. But in a similar sense, there's no way I can pick against this Jaguars team. This Jaguars team, it makes no sense that they're good. It really doesn't. They are not as good as last year in my mind, but in all reality, they are. Because they're doing better. They're running away with the AFC South, and they've been looking good doing it. So I got to go Jaguars over Jets, and especially with the Colts and the Texans on your heels, you got to pull off wins like this. You really do. So Jaguars against an easy Jets team, this should be an easy win. Next up, AFC West battle, Chargers visiting the Chiefs, and let me be real. This Chiefs team fell off this year, and it made no sense. They didn't really lose anyone. They didn't really, if anything, they gained some good players. And for some reason, this team just can't pull it together. Defense just isn't what it used to be. Offense hasn't been able to be as clutch as they were. And this Chargers team, they've looked dang good. And I easily would have gone with the Chiefs in this one had they lost to the Eagles. But the fact they rallied late, brought it to overtime, then won in overtime, no shot I'm picking against this Chargers team whatsoever, especially how good their defense played on that Monday Night Football game. So Chargers over Chiefs, I think it's got to be done, but let's be all real. If the Chiefs win, we won't be surprised. The Chiefs team, it shouldn't make sense they lose, and right now they have a 6-7 record, so do with that what you will. Next up, Bills and Patriots should be game of the week. It's been a while since we've had the Bills and Patriots both be high level, and with this Bills team being 9-4, Pats being 11-2, this is fantastic. Right now, Patriots are in a battle with the Broncos for their number 1 spot, and the Bills are just looking to maintain that number 5 spot in the playoffs. I think this is a great upset opportunity for the Bills. I know the Patriots play them hard. They had a great shootout last time they played, and, I don't really see the Patriots and Broncos both winning out and ending their seasons with a 15-2 record, or what would it be, 50-2 record. So I'm actually going to be going with the Bills to beat the Patriots at home. I think there's going to be upsets. And like I said, I've been picking a lot of games without upsets, and right now, my upsets I've picked is Bengals over Ravens, and right now, I guess if you want to consider it, the Bills over the Patriots is an upset. So book that with you. Take that to the bank with what you will if you want to say that. Next up, Commanders and Giants. Why are they playing? Why do we even have to have this game? The 3-10 Commanders taking on the 2-11 Giants, and the fall off for the Commanders has been just awful. Awful. It's been kind of hilarious how they go 5-11. They draft Jaden Daniels. He literally has the greatest rookie season of a rookie quarterback ever. Leads them to a shocking conference championship run where they actually almost win and make it to the Super Bowl, for goodness sakes. And then there's the season where they're 3-10 and haven't won in goodness knows how long. It's been weeks. So Giants, love this team. 2-11. The football committee, the higher ups, they've just been trying to screw the Giants. Cam Scadabo's down, Malik Neighbors is down, Dart's been getting concussed, but I just cannot pick this Commanders team to win a game. And I love the motion that Jackson Dart has. And I also love me a little sexy Dexter Lawrence. Give me the Giants over the Commanders. Next up, Raiders at Eagles. And there's no way the Eagles can lose a 4th straight, right? Right? I don't know. I really don't know. They've been losing left, right, and center, but they're playing the Raiders, who are so bad. They're bad. The discrepancy between good teams and bad teams this year is just so crazy. You're either bottom of the barrel or you're high on the food chain. And for this Raiders team, Geno Smith hasn't worked out at all. Ashton Genty is doing so good with just such an awful system. I really, really props to Ashton Genty. Absolutely love him, but this Raiders team sucks all day. There is no way the Eagles lose this. There's just no way. I mean, this would be the biggest upset of the week. Hands down, I am going with the Eagles, rooting for Jalen Hurts, rooting for Devontae Smith. Love them. Go get it done, fellas. Next up, 3:30 slate, Packers and Broncos. Ooh, this is a good one. I might have thought Bills and Patriots was game of the week, but Packers and Broncos is up there. Holy cow, this is going to be phenomenal. Now, as a Packers hater, I'm going with the Broncos, but really this Packers team, at one point, they were written off for the year. it was going to be a Lions and Bears battling for the conference. In fact, most people thought the Lions were just going to run away with it, but Packers have gotten hot. They've been playing great ball, and after these last 2 weeks with these wins, they really have a lot of upward momentum. So, going to be going with the Broncos over the Packers, but if I'm being all honest here, I truly think the Packers can beat the Broncos. But as a Minnesota Vikings fan, yeah, I'm never picking the Packers. No, I just don't. Look at that's 9. They have 9 wins. They have 9 wins. That is 9 incorrect weeks I've picked them. I'm just never picking the Packers. I'm sorry. They would have to play the Titans for me to pick them. Next up, Lions and Rams. Oh my goodness. Just amazing games. Amazing games in Week 15. Lions and Rams is a fantastic matchup. Now, I think it just comes down to which players am I rooting for. And if I'm being honest, I think I have Matthew Stafford in the Rams defense in a league. I also think I have Devontae Smith. Not Devontae Smith. I have Devontae Adams. And for the, Lions, this just hasn't been that good of a year. And, those 5 losses have been really telltale about how good this team is. And for the Rams, they've been looking good. They've been playing the best ball they've played since they won the Super Bowl. And I got to go with the Rams to knock off the Lions here. Matthew Stafford owns the Lions. Next up, Panthers and Saints. Similar with the Falcons and the Buccaneers. It's such a similar scenario. There's obviously a chance for a divisional upset. I can always see Falcons beating Bucs. I can always see Saints beating Panthers. But with how it's been this year, I'm going to go with the Panthers to defeat the Saints. I'm going to have the Panthers and Buccaneers heading into Week 16 with the same record. And, this Panthers team has been good. It's been the best they've been since the Cam Newton era, and I'm really going to be rooting for them in this one. So, Panthers, go out there and beat the Saints. Do what you do best. Next up, Colts at Seahawks. And I think this is a game everyone wants to watch because Daniel Jones is out for the year. Anthony Richardson can't come back, and rookie Riley Leonard may have had a PCL sprain. So, guess who is coming out of retirement at 44 years of old to play football and potentially start for the Colts? Phillip freaking Rivers. Phillip Rivers is back in the NFL in the year 2025. That is right. If you'd have told me a decade ago Phillip Rivers was retiring, I'd have gone, yeah, it makes sense. But he's back. He is back, and unfortunately, they have to play the Seahawks. So the Colts were that team this year where they were number 1, doing amazing, and then they've just fallen off as the years gone by. And this Seahawks team is ridiculous. They scare me. They really do. Their defense is amazing. Jackson Smith-Njigba is the greatest player in the league this year and should win MVP, in my opinion, if it wasn't a QB award. But yeah, Seahawks should manhandle the Colts. Also, they're playing in Seattle. Shouldn't even be a question. And after that, we wrap up our 3:30 slate with the Titans visiting the 49ers. And Titans, you can beat the Browns. You can't beat the 49ers. There's just no way. In fact, I'm thinking that, a lot of people are going to expect big performances from Brock Purdy, from McCaffrey, from Kittle, from Juwan Jennings. If anything, I think they're just going to go up early and late third, entire fourth, you're not even going to be seeing any of the stars play. I'm going to be honest. Titans are bad, but honestly, they play hard. Like, I know that we look at the Raiders, we look at the Browns, we look at the Commanders, some awful teams. This Titans team is so bad, but they truly play hard. So, gotta give them their props. Plus, they won last week, so, not all negatives for the year. They are 2-11. It's rough, but the 49ers, they're trying to catch up to the Seahawks and to the Rams. They're only a game behind them, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, easily 49ers over the Titans. And then Sunday Night Football. This would have been a fun Sunday Night Football matchup if both these teams were just so mediocre. Vikings at Cowboys. And, Cowboys are being they are being spoon-fed the division, and they just can't win games to save their lives. Eagles kept losing, and the Cowboys just can't keep momentum. So, Vikings against Cowboys, I have loved what I've seen from Dak Prescott this year. This Cowboys team, offense, I should say, specifically, has been amazing. The one thing, though, Vikings have a good D. For as mediocre as we've been on offense, our defense is still amazing. So, of course, I'm riding with my Minnesota Vikings, similar to the Packers. Packers have won 9 games. That's 9 games I haven't predicted correctly. Vikings have lost 8 games. Those are 8 games I have not predicted correctly. But I ride or die with my Vikings. I get sports isn't super important in life, but you got to ride with the team. You got to pick a team and ride with them no matter what. So, as much as I'll be rooting for Dak Prescott in one of my leagues, which I might actually bench him for Brock Purdy, I don't know. Definitely going to be riding with my Minnesota Vikings. And it's actually a shame. People are bringing up how Justin Jefferson is not a top 5 wide receiver this year in the league. And it breaks my heart because it is not his fault. It's J.J. McCarthy who I have a vote of no confidence in, and I've been adamant about that. Next up, we will end off Week 15 with a little matchup on Monday Night Football. Dolphins visiting the Steelers, and yeah, going to go with the Steelers here, but something strikes me. You could see a little upset with the Dolphins. The Steelers team is always good for a 9-8 run every single year, so we'll see, which 2 games they win and which 2 games they lose to round off the rest of the year. I mean, I'm being comedic here, but I dead ass think they're going to end 9-8. Like, I'd be completely honest. So, going to go with the Steelers over the Dolphins. I also have, their defense, which I really need. And I'm just hoping A-Chain plays. I'm hoping A-Chain plays over anything, but it's crazy the Dolphins can still make the playoffs. Actually, 10 this out. Let's look at the playoff picture. There's 4 teams technically really in it, because we all know the Bengals aren't going to, win out and make the playoffs by some miraculous conclusion. But the Dolphins and Vikings still have a, 1% chance to make the playoffs. I don't even know what would need to happen. I think they both need to win out and have who's ever in 7th lose out. There's a lot of factors, but 2 key teams to look at. Definitely the Cowboys looking to win the division over the Eagles. That would be insane. And the Chiefs. Chiefs are going to need them Texans and Colts to lose out, and they're going to need to win out. So we'll see what happens. This is some of the most fun times you could ever watch the NFL, and it's going to be a good time. Going to be a good time. But with that, we are done with WWE. We're done with NFL, and we are now on to none other than the final UFC predictions video. So 2025, another year has come and gone, and we are ready. We're ready to do it. I took all my notes. I'm ready to make my predictions, and it should be good. Should be a good event. Lots of fun matchups, lots of good times, and I'm over speaking. Let's get right on into your official UFC Vegas 112 preview and predictions. Kicking off the card, we are, of course, in the women's flyweight division. What other division would we open up the, final card of the year with? But then a women's fight, and it's a fight. That's what we'll say, as Jamie Lynn Horth takes on Teresa Bleda. Jamie Lynn Horth is 8-2. Teresa Bleda is 7-1. 2 inches for Bleda is a bit of height, I see, but the notable is 6 inches in reach for Teresa Bleda. And both ladies stand in the orthodox fighting position, and we have Teresa Bleda coming in as the -190 favorite. Jamie Lynn Horth is the +140 underdog. Let's look at Teresa Bleda first here. Teresa is 24 years young, from the Czech Republic. Do we have a woman's version of, Jiri Prochaska? We might, of her 7 wins, 2 knockouts, and 2 subs. And these 2 are actually supposed to fight at UFC Atlanta. That is right. These 2 are booked for a matchup in June. But funny enough, the last time Teresa Bleda has fought was June of 2023. Crazy enough, she's 1-1 in the UFC and holds a win over Gabriela Fernandez. That's it. That's really all we have for her, which doesn't say much, if I'm being honest. It doesn't really say much about Teresa Bleda. There's not much to go off of, but she is the favorite for a reason and does have a reach advantage. She's taken on Jamie Lynn Horth, who is 11 years her senior at 35 years of age. She's from Canada, and 5 of her 8 wins are by finish. She is currently 3-2. In the UFC, she's gone win-loss, win-loss, win, and her last win was actually at UFC Atlanta when Vanessa Demopoulos stepped in on short notice, and she won. Now, I don't have much to go off of here. I really don't. But at the end of the day, I always fall for a trap of the first women on the card. I always pick the underdog, and I swear it never works out. So I'm actually going to go with Teresa Bleda here. There's just no reason that she shouldn't get this done. Jamie Lynn Horth does not have that aggressive energy, and all of her fights have gone the distance. So going to go with Teresa Bleda. Don't have much reasoning. I actually just hope it's a finish. That's all I'm hoping for at the end of the day. After that, debuting heavyweights in our next contest, and we need heavyweights in the UFC badly, as Alan Fry Jr. takes on the debuting Guilherme Kong Pat. Well, they're both debuting, but Alan Fry is 6-0. Guilherme Pat is 5-0. 6'6" to 6'5", we got some tall boys, and an 81-inch reach to 80-inch reach. Just an inch in height and reach for Guilherme Pat. They both stand in the orthodox fighting position. Tall boys, really are. Alan Fry is the underdog at +150. Guilherme Pat is the favorite at -190. Alan Fry is 27 years old from North Carolina. All 6 of his wins have came by knockout. His last win came in September. As for Guilherme Pat, he is, how old is he? I didn't note down how old he was. He was born in 94. He's 31 years old. There we go. He's from Brazil. His last fight was August 30th of 2024 in the LFA. 4 of his 5 wins are by KO, and he trains at the same gym as Marcos Acosta, who we're going to mention on this card. So that's pretty cool, I guess, if you want to know a fun fact. Look, I don't really know what to go with here. I don't, because the issue is these first, I would say, four fights on this card all seem like underdog traps. They really do, if I'm being honest. And I don't know a single thing about these two except off of appearance, which appearances can be deceiving. But Guilherme Pat's the favorite here. The last few heavyweight fights I've picked, the underdogs have not been winning, which I've been banking on. So I'm going to go with Guilherme Pat in this one. He fought in the LFA. I guess that's good. And Alan Fry hasn't fought in as good of an organization. There's not much to go off, guys. This is about as apex of a UFC fight as you can get. Moving along, we head to the women's bantamweight division, and lo and behold, we actually have ranked women's action as the number 15th ranked Luiana Santos takes on the unranked Melissa Croden. Melissa Croden is 7-2. Luiana Santos is 9-2. 5'6" to 5'9", 3 inches in height for Melissa Croden, and 1 chin reach as well for her. They both fight in the orthodox fighting position. Luiana Santos is, of course, the -190 favorite. Melissa Croden is the +140 underdog in this contest. Luiana Santos is 25 years young, from Brazil, and 6 of her 9 wins are by finish, 1 KO and 5 subs. These two were originally supposed to fight November 8th, but barring some setbacks, they are now fighting on this card. Luiana Santos is a decent 4-1 in the UFC. The last win was in May, where she got a round 2 key lock over Tanera Lisboa. She also has submitted Maria Agapova and TKO Juliana Miller. Her lone loss is to Casey O'Neill by decision in August of 2024. She's been all right. I'll say Luiana Santos is a decent fighter. She's currently ranked right now, which is pretty good, and she has kind of a decent opportunity here when she takes on the debuting Melissa Croden. Melissa Croden already debuted in October. This is a quick turnaround for her. Melissa Croden, 34 years old, from Canada, 7 wins, 7 finishes, which I just love to see. 6 knockouts and 1 sub. And I really like Luiana Santos here. I don't know why. I know Melissa Croden came in and got a round 3 TKO, but some about Melissa Croden just isn't hitting for me like it is for Luiana Santos. So I know I've picking all the favorites here when we probably should be going with underdogs, but I'm just picking with who I think is going to win, and I don't really have to analyze too much. I got Luiana Santos. I know Melissa Croden had a good debut, but I don't know. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it whatsoever. Next up, we are going at it again with debuting heavyweights, or not officially debuting. I keep saying debuting, but one of them actually is debuting. We have Sean the Smoke Sheriff and the actual debuting Stephen Concrete Asplund, who's from Minnesota. Sean is 4-1. Stephen is 6-1. We have 2 inches in height for Stephen, who is 6'5", and 1 inch in reach as well for him. They will fight in the orthodox fighting position. Sean Sheriff is the +175 underdog. Stephen Asplund is the -250 favorite. Sean Sheriff is 32 years old, from California, and trains at Extreme Couture. All of his wins are round 1 KOs. His last fight was his UFC debut. He took on Junior Tafa on short notice, and after winning round 1 over him, would get knocked out in round number 2. So not the most exciting thing, if you ask me. As for the man he's standing against, Stephen Asplund had an amazing debut on the Contender Series. He is 27 years old, like I said, from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and is currently on a 3-fight winning streak. 5 of his 6 wins are by knockout. His only L is to Denzel Freeman, who actually won his debut in, where were we to end out? UFC. Were we in Azerbaijan? We were in Qatar. He actually won his debut at UFC Qatar, funny enough. So Stephen Asplund only lost it to a guy who holds a win in the UFC. He had a great fight against Anthony Carrasco on the Qatar Series, starched him in 16 seconds, so I'm excited to see how he does in his debut, and I got him doing the same thing here. Stephen Asplund should starch Sean Sheriff. I don't really want to, expect anything much from him, especially through these first 4 fights. I will not be surprised with anything. We're nowhere in upset territory. He's a -250 for a reason, but if he loses to Sean Sheriff, he'll just kind of be like, oh, he just wasn't cut out for the UFC. So Stephen Asplund, round 1 knockout over Sean Sheriff. I'm honestly picking the same thing for the Guilherme Pat now and Fry fight, and for both women's fights, I got them going the distance. So 2 round 1 heavyweight knockouts, 2 women's fights going the distance. That's how we open the card before we get into some actually exciting fights like our next one here. Because next up, at welterweight. Guys, this is a massive fight. I mean, this is on the prelims low, which is a shame, but this is a banger fight. As we have Neil Magny taking on the debuting Yaroslav Amosov. If you've never heard of this guy, if you're just a UFC standing, you don't watch anything outside the UFC, this guy's as legit as they come. Neil Magny, of course, the Haitian sensation. You know him. All right, actually outside the rankings right now, which is sad to see. But, we need to give Neil a bit of a break because he's been fighting killers. Come on. Come on, guys. Give Neil Magny a break. He's been fighting killers row at welterweight. He's 31-14, of course. Yaroslav Amosov is 28-1. He's the former Bellator world champion. This guy is insane. 3 inches in height for Neil and 5 inches in reach as well. He does have the size advantage, but in terms of age, Yaroslav is around, I would say, 6 years younger. I believe 32 to 38. So we'll start with Neil Magny here. You know Neil. You'll love Neil. He's a staple of the UFC. 38 years old from Illinois. 14 of his 31 wins are by finish. 9 knockouts and 5 subs. He's actually gotten a knockout and a sub in his last 2 wins this year. It's been a good 2025 after he was knocked out twice in 2024. He's finished Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos with a knockout, submitted Jake Matthews in a comeback. He's been awesome. Neil is, of course, 10 of 13 in fights that he's been finished in, so he has been finished a lot, and he's gotten 24-12 in the UFC, so he is hunting that 25th win. But, yeah, I just kind of like to point out the last 5 guys to beat Neil Magny have been Carlos Prates, Michael Morales, Ian Gary, Gilbert Burns, and Shavkat Rakhmonov. That is currently the number 2, the number 3, the number 4, the number 6, and the number 12 ranked fighters in the division. So do want to give him a bit of a break there, but I'm not picking him here because he's taking on the debuting, the former Bellator world champion, Yaroslav Amosov. This guy is legit. 32 years old from Ukraine. He's the -335 favorite in his debut. This man was fighting in Kyiv on the front line, and there is this legendary video of him returning back to his home after the air raiding bombs from Russia and finding his belt in the ground and his military gear and hoisted in the air. I mean, this guy is a badass. I'll say it flat out. He is awesome. Coming off a win in March, his only career loss was when he returned after a freaking year or 2 long layoff to take on Jason Jackson, where he was unfortunately upset. But of his 28 wins, 20 finishes. 9 knockouts, 11 subs. He went 8-1 in Bellator. I absolutely am high on him, and I truly believe that if he wins this fight, he's poised for someone ranked. So give me Yaroslav Amosov. If he gets stopped here by Neil Magny, it's going to be kind of just like, damn, that's just the skill gap between non-UFC and UFC fighters, but I'm riding with him till it's over. Next up, what could be the biggest upset on the card, we have Johanderson Brito taking on the short notice fighter in Isaac Thompson. Now, it was supposed to be Melsik Bagdasaryan, but no. He pulled out, so in steps Isaac Thompson. Johanderson is, of course, 17-5-1. Isaac is 9-2. Isaac has 2 inches in height. Johanderson has 3 inches in reach. And Isaac Thompson was born in May of 2002. So this boy is 23 years old. We're the same freaking age, for goodness sakes. Johanderson Brito, super high on this guy. Really thought this was going to be a good breakout year for him, but he just kind of ran into some unfortunate luck as of late. The 30-year-old from Brazil has 15 of his 17 wins by finish, 7 KOs, 8 subs. He's a killer. And he's just kind of ran into just tough luck. After coming into the UFC, losing a short notice debut, he would go on a 5-fight winning streak with 4 finishes. Actually, all of his fights were finishes, my bad. Before losing a bogus split decision to William Gomez in Paris. His lone fight of the year was against Pat Sabatini, where he was just grappled to death. Had nothing to do, was in the apex, it was brutal, but he's back, he's hungry, and he's looking for revenge as he takes on Isaac Thompson. Isaac is 23 years old from California, born in Australia though. Funny enough, currently on a 3-fight win streak. He trains at Team Alpha Male and has 5 of his 9 wins by finish. And of his 2 defeats, he's been knocked out once. This one's easy for me. Johanderson Brito, a round 1 knockout. I'm sorry, Isaac Thompson. Your chin is too green for the fists of Johanderson Brito. But if you can't pull off the upset, biggest upset of the year. I mean, truly, I don't know much about Isaac Thompson, but I just feel like with what I've seen of him, this would be a massive upset. So easily going with Johanderson Brito. Next up, top 10 women's strawweight action. Can't beat it. No, you can, as the number 5 ranked Amanda Lemos takes on the number 10 ranked Jillian Robertson. That is right. Amanda Lemos and Jillian are back, ready, hungry. Let's see it. Amanda is 15-5-1. Jillian is 16-8. 5'5" to 5'4". We have 1 inch in height for Jillian and 2 inches in reach for Amanda Lemos. Amanda, of course, fights southpaw. Jillian fights in the orthodox fighting position. And Jillian's the favorite here. Nice 175 against the number 5 ranked Amanda Lemos, who is plus 130. Now, Amanda Lemos is getting up there in age. She's 38 years old, of course, from Brazil. 11 of the 15 wins are by finish, 8 KOs, and 3 submissions. And, also, she's gone 9-5 in the UFC. She's never lost back-to-back fights in her career. And she's at an odd point here. She really has, since losing her championship opportunity to Zhang Wei Li. She's had a fight of the year for women's in 2024, lost a brutal main event to Virna Jandiroba, bounced back with a win over Yasmin Lucindo in March, and then was grappled to death by Tatiana Suarez. So, little to be seen here. Little to be uncovered in terms of who to choose. But amidst the difficult decisions, I will say Jillian Robertson does show a lot of potential. Now, she's been on a better run. She is, of course, the favorite in this. At 30 years old from Ontario, she now actually lives and trains in Florida. 12 of her 16 wins are finishes, 3 KOs, and she's most notable for those 9 submissions. She's gone 13-6 in the UFC, so this will be fight number 20. And funny enough, she was originally supposed to fight Yasmin Lucindo. So, Yasmin Lucindo, the last person that Amanda Lemos beat, was actually the person Jillian Robertson was supposed to face. She's currently on a 4-fight winning streak, including a big win over Marina Rodriguez in May, absolutely TKOing her to death on the ground. She's also beaten Michelle Waterson-Gomez. I believe she actually retired her back in 2024 in the summer. She's knocked out Poliana Viana, submitted Piera Rodriguez, submitted Maria Agapova, submitted Priscilla Cachoeira. Let me just keep it going. Submitted Courtney Casey, submitted Sarah Frote, submitted Veronica Hardy, submitted Molly McCann, submitted Emily Whitmore. She has a lot of finishes in the UFC. And yeah, 6-1 in her last 7, 4-fight winning streak. I like the positive momentum, and I'm going to say it continues here. I've been seeing this recurring theme with Amanda Lemos, where she's struggling against grapplers. And when I look at her last 2 victories here, her last 2 victories have been Mackenzie Dern in February of 2024 and Yasmin Lucindo in March. And from what I saw in both of those, she was a better grappler over someone who wasn't a better grappler. But Virna Jandiroba, Tatiana Suarez are better grapplers, and I think Jillian is better as well. So I'm going to give this one to Jillian Robertson. If she wins this, she'll be top 5, which is massive because we need to break in some new women to the division. With that, we'll get into our main card, and we're kicking off with such a random fight. This was made on a Tuesday. For goodness sakes, it is a Wednesday/Thursday. I'm recording this also on a Thursday. And for goodness sakes, this was made on Tuesday. Bobby King Green, who's just known as King Green now, is taking on the debuting Lance Fearless Gibson Jr. Lance Gibson Jr. is 9-1. King Green, if you didn't know, is 32-17-1 and 1 no contest. He's had a lot of professional fights. He has 1 inch in height. Lance has 1 inch in reach, which is all we can really give him. And, of course, Bobby Green is the favorite in this contest. 9 years older as well. King Green, 39 years old from California. 11 KOs and 9 subs. Give him 20 of his 32 wins by finish. Love to see that. 9 of his 17 losses he's been finished in, including 6 by knockout, which has been an unfortunate recurring theme for him. He's gone 13-12, 1-1 in the UFC. That's 1 draw and 1 no contest. And he was actually originally supposed to fight Diego Ferreira at UFC 319. That fight didn't happen. He pulled out or something, and instead his last fight ended up being Mauricio Ruffy, which is on the short list for KO of the year, which is just kind of brutal. It was a fantastic KO, and just the only thing is I'm worried about Bobby's, chin after all of that. And, taking on a guy, Lance Gibson Jr., I don't know anything about him. I really don't. But what I do know is that King Green has 1 win since 2024, and it's over Jim Miller. That was in 2024. Now, he's on a 2-fight losing streak. He's been submitted by Paddy Pimblett, knocked out by Mauricio Ruffy. He's also knocked out bad by Jalen Turner. So I don't really know what to do with him. I don't really know because Lance Gibson Jr., I just don't know a lick about him. I don't. Like I said, he's 9-1. He's 30 years old from Seattle, but now trains out of British Columbia, Canada. 7 of his 9 wins are finishes, 4 kills and 3 subs. He went 5-1 in Bellator. Last win was November 2024. I just don't know how good he is. I really don't, and I can see images of him. I can see fight clips, but it's always a different game when you get in the UFC. So I would love to really pick, King Green here. I really do see the potential, but I don't even know what version of Bobby Green I'm going to get. Like, this boy was knocked out cold in March. He was submitted in July. He just hasn't been looking good. He really hasn't, but I don't know if I feel confident picking Lance Gibson Jr. I really don't, but I do think he may be an underdog. I haven't picked many underdogs, if any, on this card, so I don't know. King Green could go out there and absolutely starch Lance Gibson Jr., but it's so random, they would just put him on this card, so I am going to have, we're going to pick Lance Gibson Jr. Why? I don't know. Some's telling me it's the wrong mistake, but also I can't really bring myself to pick 39-year-old Bobby Green, who was knocked out cold in March. There's just something about me that I just can't bring myself to do that. Next up, our final heavyweight matchup of the night, and it is a fight. That is all I'm going to say. It is another heavyweight fight as Kenny Nchukwu takes on Marcus Buchecha. Kennedy is 14-6. Marcus is 5-2. 3 inches in height for Kennedy, 6'5" to 6'2". 6 inches in reach, 83-77. Kennedy fights southpaw. Marcus fights orthodox. Kennedy is the favorite, -150 to the +110 Marcus Buchecha. Kennedy is 33 years old, born in Nigeria. Of course, trains out at Fortis MMA in Texas. 10 KOs and 1 sub give him 11 of 14 wins by finish. And of his 6 defeats, he's been finished 4 times. He's got an 8-6 in the UFC, but since moving up to heavyweight, 2-1. Only loss is to Vulture Walker, which was his last loss in July, which I'm not even going to hold against him because that's freaking nasty. But his 2 wins were Chris Barnett and Lucas Brzeziak, which weren't the most impressive, if I'm being honest. And it's always just kind of been a recurring theme here. I mean, his most impressive win in his career, probably Carlos Uberg, which it's just insane to think he holds a win over him. And then the latest was Ian Kudalaba. That was in 2022, though. So Kenny Nchukwu, as of late, he is 2-3 in his last 5. 2-1 in this new heavyweight era. It's tough to know what you're going to get out of him. It really is. And he's taking on a guy, Marcus Buchecha, who had a lackluster debut. I mean, 35 years old from Brazil, now trains at California. All 5 of his wins are finishes, 1 KO and 4 subs. He went 5-1 in the one championship before coming over here, and he's like a 40-8 record in like BJJ grappling or whatever it is. But dude, his fight against Martin Buday was awful. It was so bad they cut Martin Buday. How bad you have to be that you stay and they cut your opponent. That's how bad you are. So in terms of striking, I'm thinking Kennedy should, hypothetically knock him out. But if Marcus brings us to the ground, it's game over. It's game over, so I'm going to bank on Kennedy landing the knockout. He wasn't able to do it against Vulture, but if he can land on Marcus, avoid getting taken down, he'll have success. That's it. This is literally as black and white as you can get. Kennedy Nchukwu knockout or Marcus Buchecha submission. There's no in between. Literally no in between. We're going to ride with Kennedy Nchukwu and knockout. From here on up, I would consider all these fights very high level and very good. First up, featherweight division, Melquizel, the Dalmatian Costa. Melquizel, why is your nickname the Dalmatian? I know you have alopecia, but come on, what are we doing here? And then Morgan, the Last Pirate Cherie. That's a tough nickname. Melquizel is 24-7. Morgan Cherie is 21-11-1. 2 inches in height go to Melquizel Costa, along with 2 inches in reach. Southpaw for Costa, orthodox for Morgan Cherie. Now, coming in this one, the closest odds in the card, -110 Morgan, -120 Melquizel. That is right. Both of these guys are favorites in this one. It is as even as you could get. Now, starting us off, the Last Pirate, Morgan Cherie, is always, we've always felt like he can make a run. We really do, but then he always ends up losing to another high-level unranked featherweight. The 30-year-old is from France and has 16 of his 21 wins by finish, 13 KOs and 3 subs. And of his 11 career losses, he's only ever been finished once. That is so impressive. So far in the UFC, he's gone 5 for 5 on fights. In his debut, round 1 knockout. After that, fight of the night, split decision loss to Chepe Mariscal. Then knocks out Gabriel Miranda. Then a close decision loss to Nathaniel Wood in what was a dogfight. Last time out in July, it was one of the best fights of the night against Nate Landwehr. That was just a dogfight. Absolutely loved it. Landed the knockout in round number 3, which was so fun, and I've loved what I've seen. Now, the one thing I have seen is when you see him get in trouble, it's when he's getting taken down, which is weird to say because he himself can land knockdowns, or not knockdowns, takedowns. So he can also land knockdowns, but I'm referring to takedowns. And the one thing his opponent succeeds in is the takedowns. That's right, Melquizel Costa, the 29-year-old from Brazil, has 15 of his 21 wins, or is it 24? 24 wins by finish, 7 kills and 8 subs. Of his 7 defeats, he's been finished 4 times, and he's going for win number 4. In the year. This man speed ran, 3 wins between February and May, submitting Andre Fili, defeating Chris Rodriguez, and then having a fight of the night win against Julian Erosa. He's currently on a 4-fight winning streak. He's 5-2 in the UFC. His last loss is to Steve Garcia. If you didn't know who Steve Garcia is, he's currently the number 8 ranked featherweight in the world. So I wasn't really high on Melchizedek Acosta at first for the year. I've picked him in all of his fights so far. No way I'm picking against him again. I'm going to go with Melchizedek Acosta to defeat Morgan Cherie by submission. That is right. There's just something about it. I feel like this is the year of Melchizedek Acosta, but I also do like Morgan Cherie in this one. This is just 2 high-level featherweights, and whoever wins this is poised for a potential ranked shot at the featherweight rankings. They're always on the verge, and David Onama is right there begging for an opponent. Dan Ige begging for an opponent, and the winner of this has a date with one of those 2 men. Moving up to the middleweight division. We're not done with featherweight, though, so put a little pencil in unranked featherweights for a second. But at middleweight, this one is just, no one knows what to make of this. Cesar Almeida taking on Cezary Olakajasek. Cesar Almeida is 7-1. Cezary is 16-3. 2 inches in height for Olakajasek, 1 inch in reach for him. He fights southpaw. Cesar fights orthodox. Age-wise, there's a 12-year age gap here. That is absolutely nuts. 37 years old for Cesar, 25 years old for Cezary Olakajasek. And Cesar coming in is the plus 110 underdog. Now, 37 years old from Brazil, 5 knockouts of his 7 wins. He actually holds a win over Alex Pereira in kickboxing. And the reason that he is the underdog here is because of his inactivity. And I don't even know if he just couldn't get a fight to save his life, if he was dealing with injuries that weren't disclosed. But after having the best knockout of the year, for the first 2 cards, this guy started off the year with knockout of the year against Abdulrazak Al-Hassan. Also could be considered comeback of the year, being that he almost got finished by Abdul. He's been good. 3-1 in the UFC, 2 finishes. Only losses to Roman Kopylov, which was a close fight. He's been pretty good. But the thing is he's just been inactive all year. And I don't know. There's just a recurring thing where I think if you don't fight during the middle of the year, it's almost like he's taken a year-long layoff, and he's fighting on the first card of the year. His second fight's on the last card of the year. I don't know if that ever bodes well for success. And he's taking on the guy in Cezary Olakajasek, who, to be fair, they're both strikers. All right, but Cezary Olakajasek, 25 years old from Poland. Yes, he is the younger brother of Michael Olakajasek, if you were wondering. He's on a 4-fight win streak. 11 of his 16 wins are by finish, including 9 KOs. And his last 2 wins, knocked out Tom Breeze in February and landed a 36-second finish on the Contender Series. But if you saw the Contender Series fight, you know that he fought this guy named Theo Hag, who's a submission expert. Theo shoots for a takedown right off the rip, and Cezary just starts laying hammer fists, and the fight was stopped. So this one is really tricky, because I really want to go with Cezary Olakajasek, and guys coming off the Contender Series have done phenomenal so far, but Cesar was just so good. He really looked good, and the only times I've seen him struggle is with takedowns. I don't know if Cezary is really shooting takedowns. Truly, let me tell you, the only rounds he lost in the Contender Series, taken down. The only time he was losing against Dylan Budka, being taken down. Only reason he lost to Roman Kopylov was taken down, and the only reason he almost lost his Ira Portero fight in October of 2024 was taken down. So I don't know if Cezary's going to mix into takedowns. I don't, but I would rather ride the Dana White Contender Series hype trains till they fall off. I love the Contender Series guys, and Almeida is 37. Cezary is 25. It's kind of best for business if he wins. I accidentally highlighted Cesar Almeida, but I am going to go with Cezary Olakajasek. Because I always, if no one knows this, if this is your first time ever listening, I highlight everything on paper, take a bunch of paper notes, so then it's written in paper, and then sometimes I actually forget to do it online. So I always cross-reference, I always cross-check, but yes, we are going to go with Cezary Olakajasek. With that, we get into the last co-main event of the year, and it is the number 15th ranked Giga Chikadze in the men's featherweight division, taking on El Chino Kevin Vallejos. Giga is 15-5. Kevin is 16-1. Giga holds a 5-inch height advantage and a 6-inch reach advantage. Holy cow. Holy cow. Also, Giga has a 13-year age advantage. Holy cow. I don't even know if it's an advantage. He just is 13 years older. It's just a matter of a fact, if you will. Giga's a plus 175 underdog. Kevin is a minus 250 favorite. So we'll start with Giga. Currently ranked at number 15. It's been a rough road for him. It really has. The 37-year-old is from Georgia. Now, of course, trains in California. Of his 15 wins, 9 KOs and 1 sub. He's got an 8-3 in the UFC. And after starting off phenomenal, Phenomenal debuts in September of 2019. Goes on this crazy 7-fight winning streak, knocking out Cub Swanson with Edson Barbosa. He begins to have this, name for this like body kick or head kick he does called the Giga kick. It was awesome. And then runs into prime Calvin Kattar in January of 2022 and just gets whooped for 5 rounds. Just whooped. He then takes a year and a half off, comes back August of 2023, wins a close fight against Alex Caceres. All right, nice. Very nice. Then takes 11 months off again. Comes back, loses a boring sparring match to Arnold Allen. Okay. Then takes off another 10 months. Comes back April of 2025. Drops a boring decision to David Onama in Kansas earlier this year. And just 1-3 in his last 4. He's had 4 fights in the last 4 years. It just doesn't bode well. It really doesn't, and he's been inactive. It's crazy to think, at one point, like, this guy was in his prime. He was 31 years old. Everything was looking good. And now he's 37, 2-fight losing streak, and if he loses this, his time in the UFC is probably over. And who have they lined up for him? How about a young 24-year-old from Argentina? That is right, Kevin Vallejos. Currently on a 5-fight winning streak. 13 of his 16 wins are by finish, including freaking 11 KOs. KO master here. He fought twice in the Contender Series. Oh, who did he lose to? Who's his only career loss? A decision to Gene Silva. Insane. Debuted in March of this year, knocking out Sungwoo Choi. Then took Danny Silva the distance in August, winning 3 rounds on the judges' scorecard. So, Kevin's back. Kevin's hungry. And I'm sorry, Giga. This just feels like you're being put out of the pasture. So we're going to go with Kevin Vallejos. I love it here. But honestly, if Giga wins, I wouldn't be too surprised. Like, there's not many surprises on this card. I'll say definitely if Isaac Thompson beats Anderson Brito, I would be shocked. And that's probably it. That's really the only shock I would have on this card. Other than that, some pretty good matchmaking all the way around. And we have good matchmaking in the main event, the final fight of 2025 in the ESPN era. It is Brandon Royval versus Manel Kape. Raw Dog versus Starboy, the number 2 versus the number 6 flyweights on the planet. That's right. Brandon Royval, of course, 17-8. Manel Kape is 21-7. 4 inches in height for Royval. Same reach, though. Southpaw for both men. Pretty even. Brandon Royval is a tall flyweight. Manel Kape's about an average-sized flyweight. So, in terms of height, nothing too different there. Manel Kape's actually coming in as the minus 250 favorite. Brandon Royval is the plus 175 underdog. Let's start with Raw Dog here. Brandon Royval is 33 years old from Colorado and has 13 wins. By finish, 4 knockouts, and a very notable 9 submissions. He's only ever been finished twice in his career, and these two have been scheduled to fight twice before this year. They were originally supposed to main event a fight night in March. Of course, Brandon Royval had to pull out, and Manel Kape got a new opponent. Then they were supposed to fight International Fight Week. Manel Kape had to pull out, and Brandon Royval got a new opponent. And everything has seemed to work against Brandon Royval this year and work in favor of Manel Kape. But Brandon Royval, been with the company for 5 years now, holds the wins over a lot of notable guys. Tatsuo Taira, Brandon Moreno, Kai Kara France, Tim Elliott, Matthias Nakalu. A lot of notable guys. Only guys to beat him in the UFC, Alexander Pintoa, Brandon Moreno, and Josh Van. Yeah, the last 3 champions, believe it or not. Last 2 fights have been fight of the nights, and let's be real, his fight with Josh Van is probably front runner for fight of the year. That was insane. Insane at UFC 317. So Royval is coming in off a loss, but I will say the one thing with him is he's prone to output, but not to damage. And that's what's kind of hurt him through literally every fight he's had since I could look at my screen here. I mean, literally every fight has hurt him due to the fact he's more of a volume striker. So we'll see how he does here. I really like his odds. I feel like he shouldn't even be the underdog here, so this could be a great betting opportunity. But he's taking on the number 6 ranked Starboy, and Manel Kape is running with some serious positive momentum. Manel Kape is 32 years old, of course, born in Angola, now trains out of Extreme Couture in Las Vegas. 18 of those 21 wins are by finish, 13 KOs, and 5 subs. And of his 7 defeats, he's only ever been submitted twice, and that wasn't even in the UFC. None at all. Now, Manel Kape is the king of canceled fights. If you were not aware, he has a record of 6-3 in the UFC, which is, of course, 9 fights. He's had 11 canceled bouts. I didn't know one fighter could do that. Just kidding. Meet Alex Perez. Manel Kape started off his UFC career in 2021 pretty rough. Pretty rough. Loses a decision to Alexander Pantoja, loses a decision to Matthias Nicolau, and just didn't do anything in the fights. But he ends the year. Round 1 knockout of Ode Osborne. Round 1 knockout of Zalaga Sumalagov. Amazing. Then goes into 2022, picks up a decision win over David Jork. Then 2023, fight of the night win over Felipe dos Santos. 4-fight winning streak. July last year. Runs into Mohamed Mokaev. Fight was so bad, they cut Mokaev after he won. Hilarious. Then would end December of 2024 with a round 3 knockout of Bruno Silva, and of course was scheduled to fight Brandon Rival in March. Ended up fighting Asula Mabayev and knocked him out in round number 3. Literally had that boy running away. Super funny. I will say Manel Kape is prone to eye pokes, which you should watch for. I will say he has good takedown defense, but if taken down, he usually loses the fight, and he does have knockout power. But in terms of why I'm picking him to win, simply, I just don't want to see Brandon Rival in the mix again. I don't even hate Brandon Rival, but I just think I'm kind of over him, at the top of the food chain. I would rather see Manel Kape. He has more personality. He has more spunk. He brings out just the worst of fighters. Like, I kid you not. This boy is just so evil, so menacing. He's always just trying to, irk you or try to, get under your skin, which, it sells fights. I will say it doesn't make friends, but in this business, are you trying to make friends? I don't know. I don't really know, but all I know is UFC Vegas 112 goes down this upcoming Saturday, and those are all your official predictions. That's right, the official final predictions for the year. It's kind of crazy to think of it. It really is. Also, this is the end of the John Cena retirement tour. It is crazy to think, it's... the last time we're seeing John Cena wrestle. And I don't even know if I'm going to be watching it, if I'm being honest. I'm going to be, busy with my boys. My buddy Ryan's coming down. We've actually had him on. Go listen to our Conspiracy Podcast episode. And I wrap up work tomorrow for the foreseeable month. I got a lot to do, though. I'm a busy boy. I bounce around. I get stuff done. So we'll see what's up. But in terms of this episode, that's all I have, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. We'll be back next week. I'm going to be busy, really freaking busy. But, when am I not busy? We always find time to record this lovely podcast. So, with that, I bid you adieu. Have a kick-you-know-what weekend. And, yeah, go lock everything in. And, usually I say I'll catch you next time on the Surprise Jet Podcast. But in honor of John Cena, I'm going to leave you with 3 words: hustle, loyalty, and respect. And as I've said that, I've realized it's 4 words. All right, everyone. Take care.